The Story King. The glass shattered against the floor at 11:47 p.m., and that's when Maya knew her life would never be the same. She'd been wiping down the last table at Romano's when it slipped from her trembling fingers. The restaurant had been empty for 20 minutes, or so she thought. The closed sign hung on the door. The lights were dimmed. She was alone. Except she wasn't. Careful there, mate. Wouldn't want you cutting yourself. Maya's heart stopped. She spun around, her breath catching in her throat. Two men sat at the corner booth, materializing from the shadows like smoke. She hadn't heard the door chime. Hadn't heard footsteps. Hadn't heard anything. The one who'd spoken leaned back with an easy confidence that filled the room. Dark hair swept back from a face carved from granite, eyes so pale blue they seemed to glow in the dim light. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Everything about him screamed power, from the way he sat to the slight smirk playing at his lips. The second man was quieter, broader, sandy-haired with hazel eyes that tracked her every movement. He didn't smile, but there was something in his gaze, a watchfulness that made her skin prickle with awareness. "We're closed," Maya managed, hating how her voice shook. She gripped the cleaning cloth like a lifeline. You?" The dark-haired one tilted his head. "Door wasn't locked. I was just about to. Pour us both a drink, mate. It wasn't a request." The pale-eyed man's voice carried the weight of someone accustomed to obedience. "Whiskey. Neat. Your best bottle." Maya's instinct screamed at her to run. Every true crime podcast she'd ever listened to, every news story about women working late alone, they all flashed through her mind in rapid succession. But something held her frozen. Maybe it was the way they watched her. Not with malice, but with interest. Intense, unwavering interest. "I should call the police," she said, reaching slowly for her phone on the bar. "You could." The sandy-haired one spoke for the first time, his voice deeper, rougher. "But we'll be gone before they arrive. And you'll never get answers to the questions burning in your mind right now." "What questions? I don't even know you." "Don't you?" The dark-haired man stood, and Maya's breath hitched. He moved like liquid shadow, all predatory grace. "You've seen us before, Maya. 3 times this week. Monday, at the farmer's market. Wednesday, outside your apartment. Friday, at the bookstore on 5th. Ice flooded her veins. He was right. She had seen them. Background figures she'd barely registered, dismissed as coincidence. Her hand trembled as it hovered over her phone. "Who are you?" "Pour the drinks," he said softly. "Then we'll talk. You have my word, our word, that you're safe. Safer than you've been in months, actually." Against every ounce of common sense, Maya found herself moving behind the bar. Her hands worked on autopilot, reaching for the top shelf Macallan that missed her. Romano saved for special occasions. She poured 2 generous measures, the amber liquid catching the low light. She slid the glasses across the bar but stayed on her side, maintaining distance. The sandy-haired man rose and collected both glasses, handing one to his companion. They didn't drink immediately. Instead, they watched her with those unsettling, penetrating stares. "My name is Marcus," the dark-haired one said finally. "This is Sullivan, and we're here because you're in danger. From you, from us." Marcus actually laughed, though there was no humor in it. "No, little one, we're here to protect you. I don't need protection. I don't need anything from you. I need you to leave so I can lock up and go home. Home to apartment 4C. On Ashwood Street." Sullivan's rough voice cut through her denial. "Where your lock has been broken for 3 days. Where someone jimmied your fire escape window last Tuesday." Maya's blood turned to ice. "How do you?" "We know because we've been watching," Marcus interrupted. "Not to frighten you. To keep you alive. This is insane." Maya grabbed her phone with shaking hands. "I'm calling Jake Hendricks," Sullivan said quietly. "Does that name mean anything to you?" Her finger froze over the screen. Jake, the customer who'd asked her out 6 weeks ago. Sweet, charming Jake with the shy smile and expensive watch. She'd said no. She had a policy about dating customers. He'd seemed to take it well. What about him? Marcus swirled his whiskey, studying the patterns it made in the glass. Jake Hendricks isn't his real name. It's Jacob Hernshaw. He has a record in 3 states. Stalking, assault. One woman in Oregon has a permanent restraining order. Another in Washington state. Well, she's no longer with us. The room tilted. Maya gripped the bar to steady herself. You're lying. We're not, Sullivan said, and something in his tone made her believe him. He's been escalating, following you, taking photos. He has a storage unit full of, let's call them, souvenirs, from his previous interests. How do you know all this? Because it's our job to know. Marcus took a slow sip of his whiskey. We handle situations that fall through the cracks. People who slip through normal channels. People like Hernshaw. Are you cops? No, FBI. Nothing so official. Marcus's smile was sharp as a blade. We work in the spaces between. And right now, we're working for you, whether you hired us or not. Maya's mind raced. This couldn't be real. And yet, the broken lock she'd been meaning to fix. The feeling of being watched she'd dismissed as paranoia. The photos she'd found on her car windshield last week. Candid shots of her she'd assumed was some weird prank. What do you want from me? Right now, we want you to finish closing up this restaurant and let us escort you somewhere safe, Sullivan said. Hernshaw knows your schedule. He knows you close alone on Wednesdays. He's been working up the courage to make his move. Tonight, her voice came out as a whisper. We think so. Marcus set down his glass, his pale eyes locked on hers. There's been a pattern. The moon phase, the day of the week, even the weather. He's particular about conditions. Tonight checks all his boxes. As if summoning the devil by speaking his name, a sound echoed from the kitchen. The back door, the one she knew she'd locked earlier. Maya's eyes went wide with terror. Marcus and Sullivan moved simultaneously, both rising in a fluid motion that spoke of years working together. Marcus jerked his head toward the supply closet. In there, now, lock it, don't come out until one of us comes for you. I can't just. Now, Maya. Sullivan's command brooked no argument. But before she could move, he caught her wrist, gently, despite the urgency. His rough hand was warm against her skin, and his eyes softened for just a moment. Trust us, please. Something in that, please, the vulnerability beneath the command, broke through her paralysis. She ran. The supply closet was cramped and dark, smelling of cleaning supplies and cardboard. Maya fumbled with the lock, her hands shaking so badly she nearly couldn't turn it. She pressed her ear to the door, straining to hear. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, then a voice she recognized, Jake's voice, but different now. Harder, crueler. I know you're still here, Maya. I saw your car. Were you waiting for me? Restaurants closed, friend. Marcus's voice, still casual but edged with steel. You'll have to come back tomorrow. I'm not here for food. Jake's laugh made her skin crawl. Where is she? Gone. Sullivan lied smoothly. Left 10 minutes ago. Bullshit. I've been watching. She never leaves before midnight. Tonight was different. Now leave, while you still can. A crash, glass breaking. Maya bit her fist to keep from screaming. I don't know who you think you are, Jake snarled, but Maya is mine. I've been patient. I've been so fucking patient. Following her, learning everything about her. She doesn't know it yet, but we're meant to be together. She knows now, Marcus said softly. And the answer is still no. The violence erupted suddenly. Sounds of a struggle, bodies hitting tables, chairs scattering. Maya heard grunts, impacts, the whistle of movement through air. She wanted to help, to do something, but she was frozen, useless. Then silence. Terrible, complete silence. The knock on the closet door made her jump. Maya. Sullivan's rough voice. It's over. You can come out. Her hands shook as she unlocked the door. Sullivan stood there, a cut above his eye bleeding sluggishly, his suit jacket torn. Behind him, she could see Marcus holding Jake face down against a table, the charming customer now handcuffed and whimpering. "Is he alive?" Sullivan confirmed. "Cops are 2 minutes out. We called them when we heard him break in. They'll find enough evidence on him to put him away for a long time." Maya's legs gave out. Sullivan caught her before she hit the floor, his strong arms supporting her weight. He guided her to a chair, kneeling before her so they were eye level. "You're safe," he said quietly. "We've got you." Marcus joined them, leaving Jake cuffed and subdued. "We'll need you to give a statement. Tell them he broke in. We were customers who stayed to help. They'll buy it. We've done this before." "Why?" Maya looked between them. "Why help me? Why go through all this for a stranger?" Marcus and Sullivan exchanged a look, some silent communication passing between them. "You're not a stranger," Marcus said finally. "Not to us. I don't understand." Sullivan's rough hand touched her cheek gently, wiping away a tear she hadn't realized had fallen. 2 years ago, you testified in court. Helped convict a man who hurt your roommate. You didn't have to, you could have stayed silent, stayed safe. But you stood up anyway. That man's brother came after you, remember? Marcus continued. You filed a police report. Nothing came of it, but we noticed. We've been keeping an eye on you since then. Making sure people like that, like Hernshaw, don't get close enough to hurt you. Guardian angels. Maya laughed shakily. Something like that, Sullivan said with a small smile. Though considerably less holy. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Marcus stood, straightening his torn suit. This is where we disappear, usually. We don't stick around for questions. But, he hesitated, and Maya saw something vulnerable flash across his features. If you want, if you need us, we could stay. Make sure you get home safe. Make sure you're really okay. Maya looked at these two mysterious men who'd appeared from nowhere to save her life. Who'd been watching over her without her knowledge, expecting nothing in return. Sullivan's hand still rested on her shoulder, warm and steady. Marcus watched her with those pale eyes that seemed to see straight through her. "Stay," she whispered. "Please stay." The smile Sullivan gave her could have melted glaciers. Marcus's hand found her other shoulder, squeezing gently. "Always," he promised. As the police cars pulled up outside, their lights painting the restaurant in red and blue, Maya realized the glass that had shattered on the floor earlier had been more than just an accident. It had been the moment everything broke, her illusion of safety, her solitude, her old life. But sometimes things needed to break before they could be remade into something stronger, something protected, something loved. Subscribe to the Story King for more thrilling tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat.